Storybook Brawl was nice enough to send me some dust codes, so I'm doing another giveaway. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can enter to win.
In a world where one man is up against 68 opponents, he'll have to cast more spells than he ever thought possible.
What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and this is going to be HatBall the movie. We are in a 69 player lobby of Storybook Brawl, and we are off to a pretty nice start at that, with Cindy plus Forbidden Fruit allowing us to pick up 2 units on turn 2. The plan was to pick up Humpty Dumpty, but I think that I'd rather pick up a second Lonely Prince, and that we're strong enough with just the 5/5 that we're not going to need this egg. But in this game, I'm going to cast more spells probably than I ever have in a single game of Storybook Brawl, because this is just going to be straight hatballing, trying to scale our board more and faster than our opponents, and seeing what comes of that. So we wind up, this was a tough game because I really had to concentrate. There was no way I could have done like live commentary for a game like this, because every turn was just, okay, how many spells can we cast? And it was absolutely exhausting by the end of it. It was a 45-minute game. This is probably like a 35-minute YouTube video because I've got all of the footage here sped up for y'all. But yeah, it was pretty intense, and we'll just wind up casting a bunch of spells. So hopefully you guys have fun following me along with this journey. We're going to pick up a Minotaur here just to continue to be strong in these early turns of the game, and kind of crushing it here thanks to the Cindy plus the Forbidden Fruit early on. And here we can take Genie's Wish to complete the Potion Masters, or the Cinderella's Treasure, rather. I wind up grabbing a Kidnap off of that and taking a Locked Chest from my treasure. So really looking for that crystal ball in general on Potion Master, but especially so in Storybook Brawl 99. There's a few strategies that can work in Storybook Brawl 99, and we've seen me, like in previous weeks, try to chase the Exodia comps, and I'm going to do a little bit of that in this one as well. But one thing that you can do is, if you just look at the ceiling for different comps, the greatest potential that comps have, the comp with the greatest ceiling is going to be HatBall, because it is limited just by the amount of spells that you are able to find and cast. We actually wind up kidnapping a Cindy from an opponent this turn, which is absolutely huge because it lets us pick up a Skips Puzzle Rune basically for free, and I wind up Mix-a-Whizzling a 2-cost unit, hoping to find a Princess Peep, and I do, which gives me a Crystal Ball. So absolutely wonderful turn. A slight punish there because we could have picked up the Blind Mouse, but the Blind Mouse was the Minotaur, which just turned into a Princess Peep, so can't really get too upset with that. But now we've got Crystal Ball as Potion Master, and we've also got a Skips Puzzle Rune. So I am thinking about just locking onto those Blind Mouse because they could help us buy into another treasure, and we just need any treasure at this point. Then that'll give us 2 XP, and at that point we can roll for Aeon, and we're hatballing and looking really, really quite strong. So basically have the entire game plan figured out here already, and am looking like this is going to be, yeah, just a really fantastic game for us. We are going to lose our prized pig this turn, so a little bit awkward, but we can pick up another one if we really want to, and we do, because we just want to try to triple anything and find some more treasures to add some power to this board. Now, I am going to pick up Spellweaver here over Sherwood Shoreshot and the Wizard's Familiar, because I do want some mages. And from here, I will just pick up the Candy Rain on this turn, but I'll lock onto the Sherwood Shoreshot for next turn, despite going into 4.0. I just need any of my units to triple: the Prize Pig, the Frog Prince, or the Sherwood Shoreshot, and that'll make us level 5 the following turn, at which point we can roll for Aeon. So that is like my entire game plan from here. You could even argue not picking up the Sherwood Shoreshot and instead hunting for a triple on Wizard's Familiar or Spellweaver. That is slightly higher upside, but I don't really care about the upside. I just want to get over to that side of things and start slaying with Aeons and start really popping off with the Potion Master, because that is ultimately just going to be super powerful for us. So this combat actually quite close. We wind up tying, and we will get to crack open our locked chest here. And I don't really care about any of these treasures, but I just have to take something I can't skip because I want to activate the puzzle rune. From there, I can grab Great Library Card, which is cool, but I just brought up not to do this in a video last week, which I think is really funny. This game was after that, after I had recorded that video even, so I knew that this could be a mistake to watch out for. But if you're crystal balling, that's a little bit different than just getting yourself kind of locked out of finding those higher tier units in the shop. This is just going to give us 3 spells every shop. And all we have to do, literally our entire goal over the next 3 turns, is going to be find that Aeon, then pump that Aeon, and if we can do that, I think we've got a really good shot to win this thing. I didn't mention this as well, but I wind up taking Cloak of the Assassin, knowing that it would give +3/+3 to Aeon. So that is the whole deal there, and I think will ultimately serve us quite well. So we are going to be able to beat my opponent's pair of Queens of Hearts here. Oh no, it's actually a tie. This was a really close combat as well. So now we are level 5, and it is time to roll for Aeons. Don't really need any more XP at this point of the game, and honestly it's probably better to stay level 5, so that way you have more chance of finding the Aeons when we are this level. I do wind up casting a few spells here just to get a little bit stronger. If we're stronger, that's going to help us by keeping our prized pigs alive, which will give us additional gold to roll for Aeon, so it kind of pays for itself, and that is why I wind up going for that here. Mainly the Spellweaver, that can definitely potentially carry us, and then same thing, wind up going for a spinning gold to cap the turn off, just for a little bit more extra gold to roll with next turn, where we will try to find that Aeon, so that way we can start to make our spells cheaper and just continue to snowball while we crystal ball. So that's the plan, and I think that we're pretty strong for this point of the game up against a Peter Pants who has a hat, but not much else. And I mean, some nice evil units there and a Lady of the Lake, but I think we've got a decent shot here just with our Spellweaver to be able to take my opponent out. And that is enough to get us the win. 1 prized pig survives as well, so 5 bonus gold this turn. Pretty nice. I do want to pick up Wizard's Familiar. I probably do want to pick up any mages that I find, though I think I'm going to be a little bit more reserved on casting spells this turn, and actually immediately find the Aeon. So things worked out really, really well. I'm also going to find the Baba Yaga this turn, which is really good for us, and from here I'm looking to sell 2 things to cast a Burning Palm onto the Aeon, just to give it a little bit more stats to kick things off, and then I'll throw the Wizard's Familiar in here, that's fine. Backline 1 pig, and I just have to decide if I want to lock onto Merlin's Test or not. With the Great Library card, you're always going to find enough good spells, so it might not really matter, but yeah, it's a fine targeted spell to lock onto. I think ultimately I don't wind up doing that, just to potentially if we don't slay with the Aeon, but we do, so all of our spells cost 2 less next turn, which is really, really good. So now we effectively just have HatBall, and we are also Potion Master with Great Library Card. So 3 spells in each shop, and every spell that we cast on one of my units is going to give an additional +2/+2. So this is going to get out of hand really quick, and we are going to be able to pick up another Aeon here. So that is absolutely fantastic. We want to cast as many spells as possible on the second Aeon. That way it can stick around for a little bit longer and actually get some slays. And then wind up picking up a second Baba Yaga this turn as well. And ultimately this just winds up already we are off to the races and doing some really powerful things. I'll go for a True Love's Kiss on the Kitty Cut Purse, or what was it again? I don't even remember, but I'm over it now. I'm going to pick up a Blessing of Athena, and we've got 1 Aeon at 43, our second Aeon at 55. Our first Aeon makes our spells cost 2 less, our second one makes them cost 3 less, so we could just be looking at almost completely free spells starting on next turn. We'll just have to pay for like knighthood or something if we wind up coming across that. But a really, really strong fight. Unfortunately, our first Aeon is not going to slay, but our second Aeon will. So that is why we play 2, feeling really, really good about that decision. And our spells cost 3 less on this turn. And we take out an opponent. 49 players now left in the lobby after some go down there. And I'll end up picking up a triple on Spellweaver this turn after casting some more spells. Interesting order here, especially when you have Aeon. Or only when you have Aeon, it's going to be beneficial to cast spells before you triple your Spellweaver. So just kind of silly ordering thing there. And then wind up casting a Drink Me potion. And I'm just short of casting this Evil Twin. So a little bit awkward, but what I'm thinking is like maybe, so I could sell 3 things for it. I don't think that's what I want to do. I think that that will just be a little bit too expensive. However, speaking of expensive, we can make this Evil Twin cost less if we just lock onto it for the turn. So I think that's the plan. Let's just cast Spinning Gold here. Again, I think that we're going to be strong enough to win this combat, so we'll get the 3 bonus gold, and then hopefully Evil Twin will cost 5 less this turn and only actually cost us 3, and then we'll get to triple up on Aeon or grab another Spellweaver. Unfortunately, isn't quite going to work out. My opponent takes out my Aeon, so we are not going to get the second slay with that, but we actually get the second slay with our second Aeon. So our spell costs 6 less this turn. Really great surprise there. Evil Twin only going to cost us 2. And do we want to cast it on the Aeon or the Spellweaver? Definitely an interesting question, but I'm going to wind up casting it on the Aeon, tripling up on that, and then debating here a little bit on what treasure I want to take. If I want to take Hand of Midas or if I want to take the support treasure. And I think that ultimately the support treasure is going to go by the wayside, so I take Hand of Midas, totally forget that I have it, and pick up a Spellweaver. A little bit of a mistake, but ultimately it's going to be fine. We're going to be able to scale this Spellweaver, and it's going to be quite large for us. And then I triple up on the Wizard's Familiar, grab a Hermes Boots, and that is going to ensure that we can keep attacking first with Aeon. Then I double True Love's Kiss onto the Wizard's Familiar to turn it into an upgraded Puff Puff, and wind up tripling another Spellweaver in this turn, skipping out on Merlin's Hat. I don't actually think that's going to be good enough for us, and then I will feed, oh no, I don't wind up feeding Humpty to the Kraken. I lock it for the next turn. I think that I was just worried I wouldn't have enough time there as the lobby was finishing up. So this turn my spells are going to cost 4 less. And you can see I'm out of breath. I should probably just take breaks during these combats. Let's take a refresher to build up our breath here. All right, back into things. Feed the Kraken on Humpty Dumpty. Gonna throw in a roll, pick up a Scion of the Storm. We're a little bit low on board space, but we will triple the Baba Yaga eventually. And then this Evil Twin is like a little expensive. It could give us another Spellweaver, but it's paying 4 for a Spellweaver that we don't really even have room to play on the current board. We could have room for 1 more unit if we triple up on the Baba Yaga. But ultimately, I don't even think that that's good enough. I just want to put in, like, we have this Wizard's Familiar pumped unit in our hand still as well, so we could potentially play that at some point, and then I'll go for a Croc on the Storm King, and that is going to be how we pursue Tier 6 treasures. When you Croc your Storm Kings, it also puts them back into the pool, so that can be a good tool as well. And then I'll backline both of my larger Spellweavers, and we're done for the turn, ending off with a Fireball. With the fact that we have the boots, we are most likely going to get our Slay. We are up against Sadrak this turn, so it could get a little bit scary, but we actually take out my opponent's Doom Breath there on the first attack. So that's really good for us. That's going to let us take this Sadrak out, so we won't have to worry about them anymore, and all of our spells cost 4 less this turn. We can pick up another Storm King. It's probably worthwhile. And then we get to throw it in a Croc again. So that is also really, really sweet for us. Then we can sell 3 things to pick up Baba Yaga. I just wind up tossing the Wizard's Familiar turned Baby Bear and then skipping on this treasure using that gold to just cast a few more spells here. And yeah, ultimately, I mean, a little bit awkward that we like made the Wizards familiar, then made it into a tier 3 unit, and then just tossed it. But ultimately, I think that just playing all the ranged units that we can is going to be the most powerful thing that we can do. As many ranged units as we can, and then putting as many things into this croc turducken as we possibly can as well. And I'll pick up some pig. I have a little side of pig with all of that. And yes, feeling quite strong. Let's take a breath. Whew. Okay, HatBall the movie. How you guys enjoying it? Brief intermissions once we get into our combats here. Up against Skip, we are looking pretty good. They have not put too strong of stuff together. We're going to get our Slay, so our spells cost 4 less next turn. Always just double checking the math to see if it has changed. Oh wait, it has. It has. Our spells cost 6 less this turn. We tripled up on the Baba Yaga. So now our spells are going to be super cheap. We could Knighthood for 6, though we don't have anything to Knighthood. So just going to cast a few more spells on Aeon. Could even grab another Aeon here. I don't think that's the craziest thing in the world. Or we could also take this Monster Book because we are about to take a Drink Me Potion. And the idea here is that Monster Book would be a fine unit to put inside of a croc. So wind up grabbing that, and then I'm just going to wind up Mix-a-Whizzling it just because I've got nothing else to Mix-a-Whizzle, and I want to cast the spell, and I want to cast all of these other spells as well. So that's the plan. Not going to Knighthood the bears as well, and then I'll pick up a Polywoggle just to feed that to the Kraken, and I wind up Mix-a-Whizzling the Storm King, or the other thing, into a Storm King, which unfortunately we won't get to keep. But for that reason, I will just wind up True Love's Kissing it, because we ultimately cannot take this Storm King with us. It was really just a monster book. And yeah, wound up sending it all the way up the chain there. Would have been nice to find a croc. Those were the words I was looking for. We were looking for a croc on this one. Interestingly, my opponent has an upgraded Storm King, but we've just cast so many spells that our non-upgraded Storm Kings are bigger than my opponent's upgraded Storm King. So pretty funny stuff. We take out my opponent here with a Black Prism, and we get the 4 Glory trigger, and that gives us a Storm King. Pretty lucky, all things considered. So that's really good. Definitely looking for a croc spell, and we see more spells, and that is going to allow us to find another Captain Croc. And I don't love any of these treasures, but I think that Mimic Chest could potentially allow us to build into some other sweet stuff, and it could be really funny with the Potion Master's Cookbook here, allowing us to now see 4 spells in every shop. And yeah, just ultimately being pretty ridiculous. I pick up the Hercules just so that way we don't end the turn with any unspent gold. Otherwise, it might be a little bit tough to spend everything. And then kind of a weird choice. I go for a True Love's Kiss on the Croc, thinking, okay, maybe it'll just turn into a Storm King naturally, but looking just to cast a bunch of spells onto Hercules, so that way we can potentially get it over the top in one turn. And we get pretty close. We get Hercules to 52, just using it for a turn here, which is pretty strong. That means it's going to complete its treasure in 2. We could start to like evil twin this Hercules or do something silly with that. But my opponent with a summons comp here, I don't think is going to stand too much of a chance against our board full of Storm Kings. 3 Storm Kings in the Croc. So really strong stuff for us there. That's going to let us beat this Pied Piper, and then we will wind up casting some more spells here. We can throw another Jormungand in a Croc, and just have that be on the bench. Allow that to allow us to hunt for some tier 6 treasures. I think that I probably should have held on to the Croc last turn, but I basically just True Love's Kissed it. One, hoping for Storm Kings, and then the other thing I was kind of thinking was that, like, I don't really care about the, like, hanging on to this Jormungand forever. So again, I actually get rid of the Croc here. Whether or not this is correct or not, I'm not super sure. I don't really have the time to think about all of my decisions like 100%, but interestingly here we can Evil Twin the Hercules, and then I Knighthood the Evil Hercules, so that way that can complete in 2 turns as well. And I'm really trying to hunt for 9th Book of Merlin. I think that that is really the way that we take this comp and bring it to a whole nother level, is with that 9th book going to be able to do some pretty sweet things. Interestingly, I'm at 46 health, so pretty crazy, and I'm even able to just do battle with these trees because I've got ranged units that are up in the like half of 1,000. So really, really large units here. We're going to just keep making them larger. We're going to hunt for tier 6 treasures on Hercules. So Pandora's box is tricky because there's some definite misses, and I don't really, there's some actual opportunity cost with it too, because I really don't want to lose the Great Library card, but I'm going to have to replace the Great Library card. That's next up on the chopping block. So definitely some interesting decisions to be made there. But I'm going to wind up making another Hercules on this turn. It's just so easy to activate these Herculeses as well, because we get to give them so much bonus attack with our spells that really sends them over the top. So I'll wind up picking up another Hercules. I lock onto this Storm King, but then I change my mind at the last second. I realize I don't really need this Storm King. I think we can do better. I do lock onto this shop though. It has the True Love's Kiss for the upgraded Hercules, which is going to activate right now, and then it also has what else did it have? I don't even remember, but it had something else that we could cast. My opponent here, Peter Pants, looking quite large, and with all of these ranged units, they are actually going to get the win here, and we wind up taking 6 damage. So we're still at 40. It was only up against a Peter Pants, so not a huge deal. Wind up picking up Wand of Weirding and tossing the cookbook. So a little bit awkward. We're going to see less spells now, but every spell that we cast is going to get cast like so many times. So I think that this is ultimately a really good way to go, and then eventually we can replace this Wand of Weirding with 9th Book of Merlin if we grab enough treasures off Hercules. You can see that this Hercules that we currently have in is going to be able to complete in 1 turn, so that is going to be really good for us. I'm going to feed some stuff to the Kraken. We don't need these other Hercules here. I did get rid of the Hercules that I had. That is no longer, we're not just going to be able to churn out Hercules at this point in the game, but I think it's fine. And I'll go for a Knighthood on Hercules again, just because we're out of time. There's nothing else that we can even do. I'll cast an Evil Twin, which automatically triples. That's the thing now. Evil Twin will just automatically triple cast. So we don't need to cast Evil Twin on Hercules. We can cast Evil Twin on anything. Should probably just be casting it on the Crocs, to be totally honest, but I got a little bit lost in the sauce there. Again, we're going to take a little bit of damage, but it's from a Peter Pan. So we only take 6, and that is totally acceptable. I will sell off Burning Tree and go for another triple onto Aeon, and once more with Phelan, these spells should have been cast on the Croc just to churn through some level 6 spells and potentially get that 9th Book of Merlin. But we're not really looking for 9th Book at this point in the game. We are really just playing HatBall. We are playing HatBall with Mimic and double Wand of Weirding. All of our spells are going to be basically free for the rest of the game. And by the way, we're on to the top 5 this game as well. So this game is almost over. We are just going to have to do some battle against some pretty strong Peter Pants here to finish things out. And do I see the play this time? No, I don't. I make another Aeon. That's fine. It gives us a bunch of cash. I think that maybe in future turns I'll realize it. Honestly, there's just so much to pay attention to that I really can't do it. I could have even purchased that Scion of the Storm there. Just didn't notice because there was so much else going on. But we're going to get our Aeon Slays, and here is what the rest of the lobby is looking like. We've got me sandwiched in between 2 HatBall, Forkin, Peter Pants, and then a Horde Dragon, which could have some really strong stuff, and a Zelhua, which is also a really strong late game hero. Now my Evil Twins are totally free, and I've realized I should just be going for them on the Croc. At this point, Pandora's Box, the opportunity cost is just too high to have to get rid of a Wand of Weirding is just too much. So I don't want to go there, and then I wind up mix-a-whizzling the Croc, hoping to grab a Storm King, which then I would have been able to put inside of another Croc to be able to hang onto it. But for right now, we're just going to be casting a whole bunch of spells again and scaling this lobby pretty tremendously. Then we get the Croc. I'm just going to cast it on the Bear Stain. It's not anything super powerful, and then I wind up selling it so that I can cast an Evil Twin on a Croc again. At this point, I am thinking Phoenix Feather, but I think there's still going to be a few more turns in this game, especially with the fact that we are up against and again, just don't purchase a Scion of the Storm at the end of the turn. It's really tough to fit everything in here, and luckily this Horde Dragon, their only tier 7 treasure is a Fairy Queen's Wand. They got a little bit unlucky in their selection there, so this is going to be easy unless their Croc has some goodies in it. So this could be anything. I'm imagining that there's Storm Kings deep down in there, and they scam us, so it doesn't even matter that their Croc didn't really have anything. Their Croc wasn't super impressive, but they did get the scam, so they are going to wind up killing us there. And then from here, well, I think I do pick up this Scion of the Storm. Yeah, that'll be fine to throw in a Croc or something. I just wind up casting Knighthood on it, which is a free spell. I can just cast a totally free Knighthood, so pretty silly, and then wind up throwing that in because that is an absolutely massive unit. And we'll see what else we can come up with on this turn. I don't actually hate a True Love's Kiss just on Aeon to make a large unit like that because we're not using all of these Aeons. They are helping us scale. That is one of the cute things about Aeon, is that it does scale your units even while it's on the bench, but ultimately isn't going to be something I am super excited about. True Love's Kiss the Jormungand into Gumblegore and end things off with a triple cast of Pigomorph against Zelhua. This is a huge advantage that I have. My opponent's able to make some large units here, but I can triple cast pigs. And my Scion of the Storm is also larger than my opponent's trees. My Aeon is larger than their Burning Tree. Absolutely insane. My Baba Yaga is bigger than their Echo Wood. That's why I said as far as ceilings, the HatBall comps can really go absolutely crazy. So now we're going to have to do all the hard work ourselves. We take out the Zelhua. The Peter Pants are not going to be able to kill people here. We've got to do all of the dirty work. So we take them out, and then we just start casting some more spells. And honestly, the fact that the Peter Pants can't take people out is pretty good for us. Interestingly, the Horde Dragon actually won a combat. It must have scammed the Peter Pants there as well. So now we are up against the high-rolling Peter Pants, the Peter Pants that is leading this lobby right now, and I'm just going to cast a few more spells here, rounding out the turn, and I'll end things off with a Fog and locking onto a Scion of the Storm plus Croc. But Fog is going to be really, really good here. It's going to triple cast, so it'll cast on all of my opponent's backline, leaving them just with a front line full of trees, which, as we just saw, is not going to be good enough. They are going to take out one of our Aeons, but our second Aeon will still slay, so we'll still have that HatBall, and then once they get through this Croc, they will see that we've got a huge Scion of the Storm that can clean things off. The rest of their Spellweavers are not going to be able to do it, and we don't quite get to take out this Peter Pants here, but I'm feeling pretty good about my chances of winning against them in this lobby. I'll wind up casting a Drink Me Potion, and like I said, we're going to have to do all the hard work here, so we are going to have to take out this Peter Pants. Now we're playing up against the lesser Peter Pants. The other Peter might take out the Horde Dragon. They weren't super strong, so that is yet to be seen. But really, we are just looking to cast a Scam spell, which is a triple cast, and I would potentially consider still picking up a 9th Book of Merlin, just because we've got the Mimic Chest. That'll be really sweet. We can cast a bunch of spells and really scam a lobby with that. So that is also something to look forward to. I'll cast a Mix-a-Whizzle on an Aeon. I'm now moving to just playing more ranged units, and I think I might have had a little bit of a bug there. Couldn't cast my targeted spells. We looked at that bug 2 days ago as well, so hopefully we can get that fixed soon enough. But yeah, just moving to more ranged units now I think is going to be a little bit bigger. My opponent with the large Storm Kings, and we've got large Storm Kings too, so we'll be able to battle on that front as well. And I think that we are going to be strong enough to take this one here. Yeah, we just have all of these Storm Kings here now, and that takes out the Peter Pants, so we are potentially on to the finals. It's just going to come down to how this other game shook out, and it looks like we are indeed in the finals. And I have to imagine it's up against the other Peter Pants. Yeah, they were able to take out the Horde Dragon. So now it's me versus Peter. Just going to cast a few more spells here to round things out. True Love's Kiss on Spellweaver or Aeon. It's a triple cast, so I can just go for it on the Spellweaver. Then I'm going to go for it on whatever that transformed into. And then we get to cast a Croc spell on Aeon, so that'll give us another look for tier 6 treasures. This would have been a perfect turn to like replace the Crystal Ball and then end things off by just trying to roll roll for like a pigomorph or something. But we end things off by finding a good boy, and that's going to give us a whole bunch more stats because all of my units are good as well, and that's got to be enough to take my opponent out here. Good boy going to make my Spellweavers go to the 8,000s, almost 5 digits here, so we are so much bigger than what my opponent has got going on. We're going to summon some Storm Kings here to round things out, and I think we're even going to crack into my second pumpkin here, yeah, to finish the game off and hit my opponent for a full board of units. There we go. HatBall the movie, really, really exciting one, and my first win after the official launch of Storybook Brawl 99. All it took was casting, I don't know, 500 spells. When we take a look at how big these Scions of the Storm are, yeah, then divide this by 2. So almost 600 spells, of course. We were getting some triple casts on a lot of things towards the end with the Wand of Weirding and Mimic Jest, but still, an absolutely fantastic game. New Storybook Brawl videos every day. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. And yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Here's the details for my giveaway this week. Just leave a comment below that includes the word good on any of my videos. New week, new code word, and you'll be entered into a chance to win a 4,000 dust code. The reason that I say to include the word, that way I can differentiate between the people just leaving a comment and those that are actually interested in the dust to make sure that it goes to a person that will appreciate it. And there's no limit to how many times you can enter. You can go back and comment on some of my previous videos. I've been uploading daily Storybook Brawl videos for the past 7 or 8 months at this point, so I'm sure there is some sweet content that you have yet to see. And yeah, you can enter multiple times. I will do a new code next week. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that if a bunch of people enter, I will give away more codes. So that's just going to be limited by how many people are entering and how many people are commenting. Let's get this channel to over 1,000. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.